And so Ben Simmons, so Ben Simmons goes, I never want to play another game for the Philadelphia franchise. Almost like, I'm gonna tell you, right? I'm gonna show you guys, kind of like, like he felt like almost like he felt good about himself when he said that. Like, you know what? I'm never gonna play a game for you again. It was almost like childish to me. I thought, because it's almost like you're fighting with your sibling when you're like 10 or whatever, and you're like, hey, can we play wiffle ball or whatever? And they're like, no, and you're like, well, what do you mean no? And they're like, no. And you said, well, you know what? I'm never playing with you again. And like, that's basically what Ben Simmons did. And like, that's just kind of childish to me, especially when you're getting paid X amounts of dollars, like millions of dollars, to do your job, and he hasn't done it well. Like, Ben Simmons can't shoot. I don't know how else to word it. And we talked about this a little bit at the end of In the Zone with MUTV, and one of the co-hosts, I wasn't hosting on Wednesday, but one of the co-hosts, Xavier Johnson, he goes, he can't shoot. And I was like, no, you're right, he can't shoot. He can't. And what does he get paid for? What do you get paid for to do in the NFL? Or not the NFL, NBA, excuse me. You get paid to put that orange basketball in the round hoop. That's what you get paid to do. And he can't do it unless he's right next to the damn basket. So, he and yet he has this kind of bravado and this swagger about himself. Like, I'm so good. And then, I guess he feels like he was disrespected by the fans or the franchise or the players. I don't know what it is. Like, for me, because I don't keep up with Philly sports like super closely, so I'm not really sure what happened. Like, for me, this all kind of came out of nowhere. Like, all of a sudden, he was like, I've made my decision. I'm putting my foot down, and I'm never playing a game for this franchise ever again. And it was almost like he expected the Philadelphia fan, the fans to be like, no, please. Like, they expected to be sad about it. And Philadelphia fans were like, yes, finally, get out of here. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, kind of thing. And, discussing where he's going to go and where he should be traded or whatever. The owner of the Golden State Warriors came out very blatantly and said he doesn't want Ben Simmons on his team. And the NBA fined him $50 grand or over $50 grand for it, which I'm not a big fan of. I think that's terrible. I think that was not a good thing, because, I mean, what are we sending? What's the message we're sending to NBA owners and GMs and the front office guys and the coaches? What message are we sending to them, saying, whether they want a guy on their team or not? Are we saying that you can't say anything anymore? Is that what we're saying? Like, if for example, Russell Westbrook is a free agent, and I come out and I say, or who's a guy that's been a problem in the locker room in the NBA? Let's think about that, right? That guy is on the market, right? And he's on the market, and you get asked, hey, do you have any interest in so-and-so? And you say, no, I don't want him on my team, right? Maybe James Harden falls in that category, because maybe he has issues in the locker room, or Kyrie Irving. And you get a question, hey, would you be interested in Kyrie or James Harden? And you say, no, I don't want them on my team. Like, why is that a thing that we get, that owners are going to get fined for? Why is that a thing that they get fined for? I just don't understand. Can you not come out and be honest about what guys you want on your team? And honestly, I don't blame the guy. I don't blame the owners, or the Warriors owner. Who wants a guy on their team that can't shoot? I mean, right? I mean, that's like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it, right? I mean, why? Again, I just don't understand why that's a thing that we are going to fine guys for saying. You say, hey, I don't want you on my team. Or it wasn't even that he told Ben Simmons directly, I don't want you on my team. He said it, I guess he said it in some kind of like, social media or interview or whatever, and said, no, I don't, basically saying he had no interest in Ben Simmons. He's just being honest. Are we fining people? Are we penalizing people for being honest now? Is that what the NBA is all about? Because for me, that looks weak on the NBA. Are we just coming in and saying, "Hey, we want everybody to want everybody and anybody," right? Like, what? I just don't get it. Why is saying I don't want you on my team something that we find people for now? Right? Never mind that Ben Simmons can't shoot. What if he's a head case in the locker room? What if that's something that is kind of been swept under the rug, but for at least for fans and people like us, people like me, I mean, right? What if owners and GMs and coaches know that Ben Simmons is not a guy that is good in the locker room? Of course, if that is the case, then of course I wouldn't want Ben Simmons on my team. You'd be crazy to want him on your team. Not only can he can't shoot more than 5 feet away from the basket, but he's a head case in the locker room. Those two things are not going to mix well for a professional basketball team. Can't shoot and a head case in the locker room. That's not exactly shaping up to be a good mix for an NBA team. And yet he comes out and says, "I don't want him on my team," and he gets fined for it. But anyway, back to Ben Simmons. The way he's like, "I want out. I don't want to play for the Sixers again." Like I said, it's childish because he's acting like he's LeBron or MJ or Durant or Steph Curry or whoever. He's acting like he's Giannis. He's acting like he's the best player in the league, and yet he's far from it. He's far from being mediocre. And maybe if he repositions himself to be a power forward or something like that, maybe you say, okay, maybe he's pretty good from that standpoint. But from the point of that he's supposed to be a point guard, they're one of the worst in the league, I might add. To be a 1 or 2 guard, and you can't shoot the 3-pointer. I mean, the 3-pointer never, you can't shoot from 10 feet away from the basket, never less a 3-point line. So for you to come out and act like, the disrespect that I've been shown is unreal. I want out. I'm gonna hit the door. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for Ben Simmons for any disrespect that he's gotten. Nobody's saying, "Oh man, you know what, Ben, you're right. I'm sorry. We really need to rethink how we've treated you." No, nobody's saying that. Or if they have, I haven't heard it. He's yet to show up in big time games, and yet he wants to be treated like he's the best player in the league. He can act that way when he learns how to shoot. He can act that way when he gets a chip. He can act that way when he is he's a household name in the league because he's notorious for not being able to shoot the ball. But when he's a household name in the NBA for a good reason, then he can kind of start to dictate where he wants to go. He's acting like right now he's Tom Brady, and he could be like, "Well, I don't want to play for New England anymore," or Aaron Rodgers. But the man has not done anything for me to respect what he has to say about where he wants to go. And I was watching First Take the other day, and what was his name? Kendrick Perkins brought up an excellent point. And there was word that he wasn't, he didn't get along with the previous coaching administration under Brett Brown, but I don't think really anybody liked Brett Brown. But you know what Ben Simmons did a few years ago? If you have no clue, the correct answer is what is signed a contract extension. And as Kendrick Perkins said on First Take the other day, nobody held his hand and forced him to sign that contract. If he's unhappy, if there was any shot that he would be unhappy with Philadelphia, he should have thought about that when he was putting pen to paper. You don't put pen to paper unless you say, "This is where I want to be for a long time." And you even say that to yourself when you're signing a 2-year, whether it's a 1-year extension or a 2-year extension. Because you sign a 2 or 3-year extension in hopes of getting a longer term deal down the road, right? You don't sign any kind of extension unless you think this is where I want to be. And it's not very often that something changes like that where, you just kind of out of nowhere and say, okay, this isn't for me. Very rarely, for a guy that is heavily depended on, do you say, nah, wait, never mind, I changed my mind, this isn't for me. That doesn't happen a whole lot. And especially for it to happen to a guy who hasn't produced, nearly at all. And like I said, he can't shoot far from the basket. There have been times where he misses the gimmies. And, for him to be acting like he has poured his heart and soul out for the franchise, it's just is almost funny, because you think about an office job, right? Think about a 9-to-5 office job. You don't do your job very well. You don't show up every day, and then you quit because the boss doesn't treat you well. You come in and say, man, why haven't you been respecting me very much? Why haven't you really heard what I want to say, what I have to say? And the boss is like, well, because honestly, you're garbage at your job. You can't do anything. And then you say, well, that's just not right. I'm never going to work another day for this office. And the boss is like, well, okay, cry me a river, will you? So, I think Ben Simmons is, I don't know. Is he looking for sympathy? Is he looking for empathy? What is he looking for? What did he want when he said, I never want to play another game for this franchise? Because you don't just say that for no reason, right? You don't just say that, you don't say that hoping people are going to take it lightly. You say that hoping to spark a reaction out of people. And the reaction that he sparked at people was like, wow, what a clown. What a clown. The reaction that he was probably hoping to spark was, wow, Ben Simmons is so valuable, and they really should keep him on their team. That's not really what happened. People are like, is this guy serious? Like, get a load of this guy over here thinking that he's all that in a bag of chips. And, as far as I'm concerned, Ben Simmons hasn't done anything. Ben Simmons has not done anything meaningful, and he's been in the league for how long? So Ben Simmons needs to do more before he can worry about who he wants to play for and how long. I think that a lot of people are laughing at Ben Simmons now more than ever, right? People are already laughing at him because he can't play basketball. And now they're laughing at him because he's acting like he's one of the best players to ever do it. And for now, like, if you look at who won Rookie of the Year between him and Donovan Mitchell, I thought Donovan Mitchell deserved it back then. And now you look at it and you're like, who's the better player now, right? Donovan Mitchell blows him out of the park. And it's if I'm Ben Simmons, I almost feel embarrassed. I would be embarrassed if I was Ben Simmons. Because not only does he make a fool out of himself on the court, but now he's doing it off the court as well. And here's the other thing. You talk about like a guy who struggles in basketball or in any sport for that matter. A guy who's struggling, what do they usually do? Well, if they're struggling, they usually say, okay, you know what I need to do? I need to get in the gym, or I need to get on the practice field, or whatever sport it is, right? I need to get into that practice arena and work on my game. I need to get with a coach. I need to start getting better. I need to start improving my game so that way I can show up when it really matters. And yet Ben Simmons is taking the opposite approach, saying that he's not going to show up to training camp or any kind of workouts until he gets what he wants. And, like, that's not really the way to go about it. Because, like I said, if you're a guy who's struggling, the only way to get better is to get in the gym and work on your craft and work with a coach to get better. The way you get better is not saying, I'm not going to show up to training camp. That's only going to make things worse for you. And now teams are not going to want you because A, not only can you not shoot, and not only are you seeing attitude problems, but now if he's not going to show up to training camp, that means he's not in game form ready for the season. So he's got 3 strikes against him. And in baseball, we call that an out. And that's the main reason in football right now. They look at Le'Veon Bell, and he's not playing with the Ravens right now, even though he's on the team, because he wasn't in training camp. And this isn't, him not being in training camp has nothing to do with contract negotiations or whatever. It's just another example of what happens. Le'Veon Bell, not in training camp, not football ready, not playing on the team. Ben Simmons, can't shoot, attitude issues, not reporting to training camp, not in basketball shape, Not ready to hit the court. Probably not going to probably not going to have a lot of interest on trade, right? Probably wouldn't have, a lot of interest if he was a free agent, right? But now the fact that a team's gonna have to give something up for him, I would be more surprised if a team said, yes, we are interested in trading for him. If I'm the NBA commissioner, I'd find a team for saying they are interested in Ben Simmons. I'd be like, what are you, stupid? You're interested in that guy? You deserve to be fined if you say you do want Ben Simmons. So, really shocked at how he's acted. I really expected more from him, and I expected more from the NBA. Finding a Golden State Warriors owner for saying that he doesn't want Ben Simmons on his team. Again, what message are we sending our owners and front office guys? Right? If anything, we should be sending a message to the players saying, hey, if you really want to be good and you really want to have a say in where you go and where you're traded, then you should be at a high level of competition. You should be one of the best players in the league, not a guy that can't shoot with attitude issues and not a good head on his shoulders, and not going to report to training camp. Why are we not finding Ben Simmons for not showing up to training camp? Why are we not finding him for purposely skipping out on team activities? We're going to let that slide, but yet we're going to find a guy for saying, I don't want a guy who doesn't have anything going for him on my team. Like I said, I would be more surprised if an owner says, yes, I do want Ben Simmons on my team. Because that's just not something that I've heard from anybody. And on First Take the other day, Doc Rivers was like, we think we can win with Ben, right? And to be honest, I really only think that that's because Ben Simmons is still on the team, and it's not a good look for a team to give up on a guy, no matter what. So if Ben Simmons isn't on that team, I don't think you're gonna see Doc Rivers pour his heart and soul out for Ben Simmons. I don't think you're gonna see Doc Rivers cut his throat for Ben Simmons to be on the team. It's just because Ben Simmons has been on the team for a while, and it's like, you never want to burn your bridges, no matter who it is. So I think that's really where he was coming from that standpoint. I don't think it had anything to do with